Hi, my name is Jeremiah Schulze. I'm here with Hosmer Chiropractic Health. Today we're going to show you kind of a hand energizing exercise, a series of exercises and stretches that you can do to mobilize the wrists, the digits, and kind of get the forearms feeling good, especially if this is great if you're a typer, if you're someone that lifts a lot. I mean, we use our hands a bunch for everything we do, and they don't get enough attention. So first thing I want to have you do is we're going to take our hands and we're going to spread them out as wide as we possibly can, get our fingers as far apart from each other as we possibly can. You're going to take those fingers, you're going to place them on the ground, and you're just going to flex them, your hands into the floor. So you just want to squeeze and kind of, if you're on a mat, it's nice because you can kind of pull the mat together and kind of get some, you know, some traction on the mat here, and then tug and pull it together. Try to flex at every single one of your finger joints. Notice right there I was kind of relaxing that digit of the joint of my thumb right there, but then I bend and pull it in. Okay, and we want to make sure that we kind of get all of these joints flexed. Then we're going to do individual segments, so we'll do our fingers together. I just want you to flex and pull, and then stretch, flex and pull, and then stretch. Do that about 5 to 10 repetitions, just kind of flexing into the floor. And you can add more resistance to this. We don't have to do a whole lot. It's not like we're trying to build the muscles of our hands necessarily. We're just trying to exercise them and getting them to move together. And you can move them separately from one another or together, and just challenge yourself. Like don't have as much dexterity as I would like, and so I'm going to keep practicing this and getting better. But challenge yourself with different finger movements. Try to move each one individually, flexing into the floor. Then you go back to your thumbs, and again you're just doing the same thing. Thinking about flexing at all the joints, laying flat, stretching out, just getting those muscles to work a little bit. After you've kind of done that and your hands are feeling like they've got some blood flow and they've been moving a little bit, you'll take them, you'll spread them out into the floor, get them really, really spread out, and then lean forward to put pressure onto the hands to get them into extension. With the fingers flared out, you'll really begin to feel the stretch across the forearms and through the hands. And then we're going to open the shoulders up, just like so that my elbow pit faces forward. And you'll close it off, just like so. And you're looking for in-range motion here. So I'm twisting all the way until my hand looks like it's going to twist into the mat, until I kind of create some pressure. And I'm twisting all the way the other direction. And my hands are still splayed out, and I might have to readjust them a couple times just to get them in the right spot, or to keep them from kind of closing up together, because we want them to be separate from one another as much as possible for these exercises. So we're rolling through, opening and closing, nice and easy there. Then we'll turn them out just like so, and you're going to take your torso, you're going to put weight again on your forearms and on your hands, and keep your fingers spread out. That's the name of the game. And we're going to roll through range of motion, just kind of mobilizing each point as we roll through, but keeping pressure of your torso on the hands. And you'll begin to feel this at certain points in this range of motion as you roll through. And if you feel it specifically at one spot, you might hang out for a few seconds longer there and try to get that to release just a bit more, try to get it to stretch out a little bit and get some static stretching done in there. If you really feel tight in a certain area, it might be worth your time to spend up to a minute and a half putting pressure consistently into one spot to try to get some range of motion. But just be careful and don't maybe do that your first time. Oftentimes when the hands haven't been moved through these ranges of motion, they get a little tender to go through these ranges. So just be gentle with them the first time, and then you can become more aggressive as you feel more capable there. So after that, again, you want to be really careful, and every time you transition, move your hands around through different ranges. Then we'll take the hands, we'll flip them into the wrist into flexion. Fingers are still spread out as much as you can. This gets really challenging here, but you'll put the hands backside down on the mat. Again, you're rolling the elbows forward, fingers are wide, and closing the elbows off. And the more you sit back on your heels for this one, the more pressure is applied, okay? So we're stretching into the front side of the forearms, both directions here, opening and closing. You see that my arms are a little shaky as I do this. It's a little tender, right? But I'm being gentle, I'm not going too much. I've done this a few times, so you know, definitely you can back this off if you need to. Like I said, the wrists are just a bit tender. They haven't been moved like this in quite a while, but you can see even my left side's a bit more shaky than my right, and you might see some flaring of the elbows when you do this. Try not to do that. So if you need to take some tension off to get your arms straight, that's what we want to see. All right, so we've done that. Now we've got both directions in full range to the fingers and everything else. We're going to put our fingers back to here, and instead of taking the whole hand and stretching at the wrist, we're going to dig up here and get some of the tissues in the palms to stretch out. So we're going to get the fingers wide again, and we're going to pop up onto our fingers just like that, and then roll through all those digits. So you see I'm contouring my hand a little bit there and just dropping into all of my hands and my fingers, and rolling my palm through that. And what that's doing is pulling the individual tissues that kind of direct my fingers and control what they do kind of apart from each other, and they get them to lengthen. And you might find some really sticky spots. For instance, on my right hand, right here in the middle, I notice as I'm rolling my palm to the center and kind of getting my third and fourth digits, so these two, to stretch, I feel a lot of tension across the center of my palm. So as long as it's not uncomfortable for you or too uncomfortable, then spend some time there and let that, stretch out a little bit. Okay, so we've done all of that. We're getting some good stretching across the bottoms of the palms. We've done some stretching here. Now that our hands are feeling good and kind of supple and able to move, we're going to take our fingers up, look at your hands, get them out in full extension, keep the palms open, and try to move the shoulders separately from the palms. Okay, so you're just trying to kind of disassociate this range of motion at the forearm bones from what the humerus is doing up here with the shoulder. So you're just keeping them stuck in position and rolling through range of motion. Okay, then, and it takes a lot of thinking to make this happen. So spend some time. If you're feeling a little self-conscious, you can do this in private so no one sees you doing goofy things with your hands and your shoulders. Then keep your arms straight out in front of you, and we're going to go do the old Star Trek Vulcan sign. And what this is doing, this is not just a silly thing I decided to throw in here. It's actually stretching these two fingers away from each other more than if I was to spread my fingers out here, because if I'm spreading my fingers out, I'm getting an equal distance between the first, second, and third digit, as opposed to when I'm doing this, I'm getting a lot of distance specifically between the third and fourth digits of both hands, right? So stretching there, and it takes a lot of dexterity to do this. You'll also notice as you focus on this, your hands might do funny things. Start to control that. Start to learn how to kind of activate the muscles that put your hands into a specific position. Okay? Then close the hands and open the fourth, or the second and the fifth fingers open from the middle two. Get them to spread out again, and again you're increasing distance from here to here and here to here, as well as continually from here to here, from thumb to first finger, and really, or thumb to second digit there, and really getting some good range of motion. And my forearms are screaming tired already. So go through those ranges. The other things you can do is while you're doing some of these movements, you can flex the wrist, extend the wrist, roll the wrist, and you'll notice that you'll have difficulty keeping those fingers in the places that you put them. So if I put my, if I spread my fingers out in this position and roll them through, at different points, my fingers might come close together or further apart. And that's just that, one, it's a little bit of neuromuscular control issue, but it's also some of those sticky tissues catching on each other as they go through that range of motion. We want to clean that up. So the more you can get that to open up and get that to work separately get them to work separately from one another, the more supple and cleaned up your hands will be, more flexible, less likely to have a typing related injury like carpal tunnel, or just that fatigue that your hands feel after a lot of typing. It may feel a lot of fatigue at first, but it will help you kind of prep your hands a little bit better for what we do in our day-to-day. So hope you enjoyed that video. I hope it was informative and that you were able to utilize this for yourself at home. Give us some feedback. Thanks.